Welcome back, nerds. Fino here with a guide for Murder at the Kumano Hot Springs. This is one of those in-universe crossovers with the flavor of the year being Mahoyo, aka Witch on the Holy Night. There's a bit of cloak and dagger going on with the progression. Technically, main quests are gated behind point thresholds on top of the usual time gates. But points come from doing missions, so it's really a mission event with extra steps. This event is available as soon as you finish Fuyuki, and if you're in that position, you really want to get in on this. The big prize this time around is the welfare, Shizuki Sojiro. I'll be doing a servant guide on him soon, so get subbed if you want to see that hot off the presses. The TLDR with him is that he's a single-target berserker who self-destructs after using his noble phantasm. He also has a battery that doubles his current charge, meaning with a modest amount of support, he can often YOLO a single enemy wave and then make way for a backliner. Very handy for team building. There are missions for ascending him, raising his bond, and having him in your team. So I'd recommend keeping him up to par and at least running him in your backline. You get his ascension items and NP levels for missions as well. Also, Sojiro has double XP during this event. If you plan to take him above level 100, you can exploit this to save a tremendous number of embers. There's also a new mystic code, the Misaki High School uniform. This one's a mission reward and you can get it as soon as free quests open up. It's pretty mediocre in my book. Yeah, it has a 10% battery and a star dump, so there are teams you can fit it onto. But I can't see myself using it as my first pick for much of anything. Still, drip is drip. The free CE for this event is Hot Springs... ball games? They're playing table tennis, dude. This increases your damage during the event, which helps for just about everything except doing 6-slot clears. So the second you get it, slap it onto your teams. 4 of these are in the shop, and the 5th is a reward for finishing 90 missions. Its normal effect is a combo of starting charge, a quick buster hybrid buff, and anti-chaotic damage. This is a full 2k attack stat line, so it's a niche but useful craft essence to keep around and possibly level once you exhaust the usual suspects. There are also CE experience cards. Here's what they look like. If you're not familiar with these, they exist for you to feed them to actually useful craft essences. If you have spare room in your present box and second archive, consider banking them for a future bonus period, one where you get increased great and super success chance. Now let's talk command codes. All of these are mission rewards. Karakuri Sorcerer gives bonus damage against immobilized enemies, ones that are bound, stunned, or petrified. Also flat stars. Anti-Magecraft Armor Rocket Launcher comes with anti-evil damage, and Lucky Bluebird has a simple combo of star absorption and NP gain. The first 2 are worthwhile additions to your toolkit, so I'd grab them if at all possible. Fujino and Calamity Jane get buffs with this event's release. Very good ones too. Fujino gains a 30% battery as compared to the jack shit she used to have. Jane gets an upgrade to her debuff that adds defense reduction, increases the existing crit chance reduction, and makes it shit out a random number of stars, between 10 and 50. That last part is huge, since her main buff scales off the number of stars you have. If you're willing to fuck with RNG, you can free up party costs that would have otherwise gone to a stardom CE. The free quests for this event have a special property where extra enemies can spawn if you meet certain conditions. The wiki has a listing of these if you find yourself stumped in any particular phase. I'll go over the 90++ node in a little bit, but something that you may find handy for event progression is that Space Ishtar has a fairly substantial damage bonus during this event, so if you're an old school player and haven't hit max bond on her yet, not a bad time to dust her off. Notably, the 90++ node has 2 bonus conditions, one for a living human and one for a high mana stat. Living human is a condition you can meet in a number of ways. All 3 Mahoyo servants fit the bill, and so does Mesh if you need to economize your cost. If you want to get bond on a low rarity, Jaguar Warrior is around too. For the mana condition, Alice Konji lets you double dip. As a fun point of trivia, the other Alice also works. Oh, maybe I should have mentioned this first, but Castoria, the 2 Scotties, and Oberon also get the job done. So I guess you can just deal with that second combination through regular team building. As for the node formation, it's a 5-for-1 arrangement of assassins by default, though meeting the conditions for bonus bonds will turn it into a 6-6-1. The mid-boss in Wave 2 is that fucking flying serpent thing that purges buffs, so you'll want to make sure you can meet that damage check. The final boss is Shuten Doji, who's like a piñata of exploitable tags. Earth Attribute, Chaotic Evil Alignment, Demonic, Divine, Dragon, the sky's the limit. Remember that you also have the event damage CE, so it's very forgiving in terms of team building. Looking at that formation, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'd probably gong this fight. But if you have them in a usable state, servants like Ash the Savior and Sieg can give you a good way of churning through the first 2 waves while contributing damage to Shuten. Though for Sieg in particular, you'll want to pair him with a single target servant to meet the damage check. Oh yeah, we've also got surprise mechanics. Every day for around 2 hours, a special mass monster node opens up that you can farm repeatedly for a shitload of drops in QP. Great place to bust out Mona Lisa if you have it. That happens to work for the free quest bonus spawns as well, so if you don't have a full suite of event CEs, filling up slots with percentage-based QP enhancers is a good plan B. The timing element is a bit obnoxious, but there are hints on the map telling you when they happen. For my part, I think I missed all of these on the JP run of this event because I'm illiterate, but keeping on top of these will save you a ton of farming. For the fights themselves, they're single class and mostly easy AoE formations. There's a Berserker fight that's 1-1-1, but that's the only exception I see. You can use these to clear out the event shop, but before you go completely apeshit, remember that we have lottos later this year. For challenge quests, there are 2. The first of these pits you against Aoko Awazaki. She has 3 bars and doesn't transform until you break her final bar, meaning she has no NP before that point. Baseline Aoko has a single target extra attack as well, so she should be easy to manage. The general gimmick of this fight is that Aoko gives herself strong buffs, but if you hold out for 3 turns, she gets blowback, giving you a chance to cash in big damage. At the start of the fight, she gives herself an attack buff, 3 stacks of mental debuff immunity, and activates the first of those volatile skills. In this phase, she gets 8 stacks of damage reduction and stun immunity. If you are planning to use someone like Van Gogh for this fight, be aware that the stun lock isn't going to work while she has these buffs up. VG can still deal a shitload of damage though, if you can keep her alive. After you break her first bar, Aoko gets magic bullets and 5 turns of defense ignore. Her skill this time around gives attack, defense, and charge acceleration. If she still has her volatile buff from phase 1, it'll remain on top of this. If you're wondering what magic bullets are, these are a resource that Aoko can use as a part of her regular kit. If she attacks, she consumes bullets to increase her damage. Her extra attack and Super Aoko's Noble Phantasm will eat up a large number of these for a big damage boost, so try not to take these attacks unmitigated. On her second break, Aoko gains 5 bullets, recurring invuln pierce, and no longer gets blowback from her skills. She then transforms into Super Aoko. At the end of each turn, she gets a special one-hit evade, which you cannot bypass even with Sure Hit or Invuln Pierce, so sacrifice a filler card to pop it. Her skill in this phase gives her 3 ticks of charge, an NP buff, crit chance, and crit damage. I was able to brute force this fight with Kukul Khan, though you need reasonably good card RNG to pull it off. For most of you though, I'm gonna recommend the Immortal team of Castoria, Lady Avalon, and Himiko if your experiments don't pan out. Super Aoko's Noble Phantasm can pierce both invulnerability and defense, so going long against her is going to be very difficult without Castoria's help. You'll probably want to run the Himiko variant of the team over the Morgan version. As a foreigner, Aoko resists Berserkers, though if you lack a better option you can still make it work. Bazette is another tempting option, since her counterattacks can burn through Aoko's defensive stacks while putting out high damage in general. The big issue is that, especially in phase 3, Aoko's Invuln Pierce makes her a huge threat to Bazette's health, even through class advantage, so you'll have to be careful in keeping her healthy, maybe even run Castoria for phase 3. I've got a banger stream lineup this weekend. A Tale of Two Wastelands on Friday, that's the mod that combines Fallout 3 and New Vegas, great Ace Attorney Chronicles on Saturday, and what I think will interest you the most, Aoko Awazaki rolls on Sunday. You won't want to miss it. Twitch.tv/Finotaisen, 3 PM Pacific time. The star is kind of a fucker, so unless you're willing to grind it out with the Immortal team, get ready for some bullshit. It starts with 5 stacks of NP resistance, 10 stacks of debuff immunity, a 50% guts, and it gains charge whenever you hit it with a Noble Phantasm. On top of this, it has a chance to charm you upon being hit. And it also has a big health regeneration effect. Hitting the boss with crits and NPs will reduce the duration of certain effects. Crits interact with its heal and NP resistance, while NPs affect its debuff immunity, guts, and reactive charm. On first break, the star gets 10 stacks of damage resistance, purges 3 buffs from each of your team members, drains many stars, and applies a significant NP gain debuff. If you're running a non-buster team, you should cleanse that off immediately. I for one was running a buster team, and did it anyway. I'll note the boss's AoE attacks and hits relatively hard, so get ready for your unprotected units to suffer from some pretty serious attrition. Koyanskaya in particular is prone to exploding by turn 3. If you're running the Immortal team, you may have better luck saving your NP chain to counter the boss's own Noble Phantasm, since it'll burn through your stacks quickly otherwise. Then, once you're in the clear, you can re-up your stacks while its own charge is low. Having a good sustain unit like one of the 2 Merlins is going to be critical for your survival. The boss's NP has Defense Ignore and applies 2 significant debuffs to NP gain and NP damage, so run cleanse codes on your essential units so you don't stall out. On second break, Reimu's hitbox gets accelerated charge and buffs to its attack and NP damage, while its defense is reduced. Its health bar is huge, but you have a path to victory. If you can hit it with enough crits and NPs, the star will become stunned and take increased damage. This is your chance to go in for a killing blow. I don't believe I have footage of this effect, but supposedly this version of the boss retains its ability to drain your team for 20% charge, so don't use batteries when they aren't needed. Otherwise, you may find yourself crippled on a critical turn. Notably, the star is a threat to humanity, and Castoria provides anti-threat on her arts buff. Some other servants that have this effect include Kukulkan, Wangina, Mysterious Heroine XX, and Enkidu. I opted for Kuku as my lead, but be aware that foreigners deal double damage to one another, so if your protection ever lapses, you're in for some serious pain. Late into this run, she eats like 2 normals, and it destroys most of her health bar. Bazette is another strong pick, since her counterattacks are treated as noble phantasms. She should be able to chew through the star's protection effects very quickly. The star isn't as much of a direct threat to her as someone like Aoko, but you still want to plan to keep her healthy if you're gonna go this route. Otherwise, run the Immortal team or pick your best alter egos and YOLO it. Just get ready to pay the resurrection tax if you're underpowered. The reward is another holy grail on top of the one you get from the event story, so it's super worth it. Thanks for watching, lads. Subscribe for more and I'll see you next time. Peace out.